What's up, guys, and welcome back. And do you have questions on what's the best way to build teams or, get past a certain spot inside the game? Well, this video, we're going to be looking at team building 101. All right, so maybe you just joined DC Dark Legion or you've been playing for a while and you're just not quite sure how to set up your teams. Yes, you probably have a lot of characters already unlocked. Maybe you have some stars invested, levels, all that kind of stuff. And those are very important when figuring out your strongest team. But I'm going to take this back to the basics, really, back down to how do we actually build a team and who goes where. All right, so as we start, we want to start with the top left. So we're going to move from top left all the way down to bottom right. Top left is your most important character because it's going to take the most damage. So this character really needs to be your guardian, but if you don't have a guardian or your guardians aren't strong enough, this can be a warrior type character, but you want to make sure that one of those two characters is in the slot. And again, this one is going to take the most damage out of anyone on your team. We won't talk about assassins yet, but essentially, yes, everybody's going to be coming for the slot. So you want to make sure that this is your strongest character, most health, most defense, whatever it is goes here because they are going to take the brunt of the beginning of the attack. So yeah, when you're positioning everybody, this one is super important. Now, personally, I like to put characters like Wonder Woman here because, again, she can create a shield around her. She can stun the enemies. Maybe a Dr. Fate, again, can put a big shield here. Sometimes people are putting their Superman because that's where they have a bunch of their investments, the highest starred character. But again, that's really going to be important to make sure that you have a character that can take a lot of damage in that slot. The next slot we're going to look at is your other front slot, so your front right slot. And this one, same kind of thing. If you have two different tanks, two different guardians, these are the two slots you want to put them in. But typically, if I'm only running one, my one's going to be on the left side and the right side is going to start in with my damage. So this is where I'm going to put a warrior character or something like that. But keep in mind, they are going to take some damage. So they need to be a character who's going to be able to withstand some damage, because if not, this right side is going to break through to your back line. So you want to make sure that these front two spots that you have really can absorb and take a lot of damage. And I'll throw this out there because you do see Batman on the field. Batman really isn't a good frontline character in general because he always steps back. Again, he does his little step back and then attack. So he's not a really great front end character, even though a lot of people like to put him up there. But if it's the only character you have that kind of fits that mold of these two, maybe he goes on the right side. But again, I like to put him in the back because he really doesn't function as a tank. So keep that in mind. Also, when you're building these teams, how does that character act? Do they seem to be wanting to be on the front, the back, or something like that? You'll also see characters like Deathstroke, Robin, Nightwing. They're all going to jump to the back on the other side. So if you have those up front, you pretty much lose your tank or your line defense there. So those are characters that should not be in the front. Next up is our left side, so our back left. This one is really one of your high damage characters. Whoever does the most damage that isn't on your front line needs to be in this slot. So I like to look again at whether it's the warrior characters like Batman that are here, your firepower characters, your magics, or something like that. Again, these are the characters you want to stick in the slot because they're going to get at least 3 of the 5 characters coming to that side, and they need to be able to back up your tank, do a lot of damage because that tank right in front of them is going to take the most amount of damage. So again, this is where you want to start to pile on your damage is in that slot. And this is where I like to have Batman, Aquaman, any kind of character like that that's going to be doing some damage. I like to put them right there behind my tank so that they can get their damage in while not taking as much damage moving forward. Next character is kind of the middle slot. This middle slot, I tend to always use either my healer or my intimidator. Again, a good intimidator is someone like Joker. This is where I like to place them. This is because a lot of your characters as you see in the battle, they're going to spread out and fan out, and this character is going to be left behind. Now, again, this is one of those slots where if they have an assassin like Nightwing or Deathstroke or something like that, this is usually the slot that they're attacking. So you can move these characters around as you need be, but my typical build puts them right in the center, especially when you think of characters that are going to heal in an area around them. You want them to be right in the center. Anybody who maybe boosts stuff around them as well. So like all the characters around him get attack up or anything like that, this is the slot you want them, which tends to be, again, your healers or your intimidators or something like that. So great slot right here to put that. Again, Batgirl, if you like her, Stargirl, Green Lantern, Joker, those are the characters you want to put here. Constantine, once you get him as well. So great slot for those particular characters. Next up is your far right. So again, far right, this is just going to be another one of those damage characters. Again, when you have your assassins and things like that, you're going to only need one in a slot somewhere. So this slot is usually where I'll put my assassin, just because they're going to kind of disappear to the back. So they can go right here. Also, this is another good slot if you have two healers. So a lot of people are using two healer setups when they're struggling, whether that's, a Poison Ivy and a Green Lantern, Poison Ivy and a Mara, something like that. You can put them in this tucked back in the back slot, and they're fine. But also keep in mind, any kind of damage dealer, kind of your fourth damage dealer on the line, they're really good to be over here on the right side, so that they're going to back up that tank that's right in front. Again, bring in some of that damage. Just keep in mind, they're not going to get as many on this side, or as much damage as many characters coming in. But this is definitely a really good slot to stick your healer if you have an intimidator in the middle. So again, if you think of like Justice League Dark, you're going to have Constantine, where I have Green Lantern right now. And this is a slot you'd want to put like Raven in. Or again, if you have a Joker, your Joker could be in the middle there. And then you could have on this right side your Green Lantern, or vice versa, however you want. But this is kind of your last slot to fill when you're thinking about where everybody goes. So it's a pretty flexible slot, but I wanted to kind of point that out as you're putting in your triangle of characters here. As I mentioned, when it comes to attacking, the thing to really notate, which will help you when building your teams, is the way that enemies typically attack. Now, if they have assassins or things like that, they're going to jump to the back line. It's not all of this goes into play, but the way it typically works is you have your, if you're looking at your enemies, this left side. So these three characters are going to attack your one front character, and then the other two are going to attack your other side. So this is where, when you're looking at where your characters go, you can determine how to put them, especially when you're in PvP and meta brawl and things like that. If you look in the setup right here, Superman isn't getting everybody on top of him, right? Superman's only getting two of the characters going towards him. Wonder Woman is kind of holding back the other three. I've got Batman to come in to help Wonder Woman with some damage. So these are the ways you can really look at your meta brawl, whether it's your attacking or your defense, to make sure that the way you have them set up is working properly. Again, I think in meta brawl, when you put your defense, some of this may be flip-flopped. So keep that in mind. You can watch a replay of somebody who's attacked you just to make sure they're in the right spots. But essentially, that's how you want to look at it, so that some of your stronger characters, like my Superman, are going to last a little bit longer. They're only going to get two people attacking them, so they can work their way through that, and then of course get to the other side. Specifically for meta brawl, I'm going a Justice League Dark path currently, waiting for Constantine. So in my setup, I have Dr. Fate and Wonder Woman up front, and then I have my Superman where my Batman is. So he doesn't take a lot of the brunt of damage, and I've got my two big tanks up front, just give me a lot more time where Superman can kind of pick people off behind with his damage. So these are just kind of things to remember when you're looking at how the team is set up on the board, who's going to take what damage. And I really do feel like if you can master this piece, you're already way further ahead than a lot of other people, because most people are just looking at how do I stick people in for tags and all of that. So speaking of tags, this is kind of the second step when you're building your team. Of course, you want to make sure you have good placement. That's going to go a long way. But the second piece here is really trying to look at the tags, understanding what they're going to do with the tags in order to push your teams up to another level. So it's very important to understand which members on your team are associated with those tags. And of course, you can always, if you have questions, you can always filter. So if you guys didn't know this, you can hit the filter, you can hit the button, and you're going to get the characters with those tags. So this is an easy way to check your team, make sure you're getting as many buffs as you can on the team, because again, these are going to be pretty important. Let me just pull that back to all. So as an example with this team, I'm actually getting 3 different tags. So we have Justice League giving a bonus of attack. So their attack and their HP are up. We've got Justice League Dark. So again, this is giving spiritual amplitude 20%. So again, their magic damage and things like that are going to do more damage. And then we've got our energy wielders. So again, we're getting people to increase their HP. So you can see right here, like Dr. Fate's going to have more HP with those energy wielders. So, it doesn't necessarily always mean like, hey, 3 tags are better than 2 or 1, but it is something to kind of look at. And depending on how you build your teams, if I use something like this, I've got 5 into Justice League. So now we've got 20% HP, 10%, or 20% into the attack, 10% in the HP. We've got the meta human tag, also giving attack and HP up. So these are things really to notate and look, because when you kind of go in and out of these different builds, those tags could make a huge difference when you're going there. With Arkham's Most Wanted, you're going to have that effective ACC percentage being up, meaning when they do something like the Joker, right? So when the Joker uses his skill, so if we were to just drop, say, Captain Cold and add in the Joker, right? Now it's 25% chance that when he does his debuffs, they're going to work even more. You've got something right here with a Weapon Master doing their attack even more. So this is the reason why the Arkham Most Wanted team is really good, because they do have a lot of overlapping tags within that. And Joker's damage over time is pretty crazy. So, these stacks and these tags are going to be big compared to people who just throw Joker into, your Justice League team or something like that. He doesn't get the benefit of making sure that his stuff always hits and sticks on there, or even the attack. So just keep that in mind. There's ways of doing that with Weapon Master, like Batman has Weapon Master, so you can get the attack within that. But the Arkham's Most Wanted is typically you're wanting 3 to hit that, at least for the first one, which is again like Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, and Joker or something like that are good, right? So instead of Mara, we do Poison Ivy, and then you can get that effective ACC. So these are going to be things that you just want to make sure you kind of deep dive into when it comes to the tags to get the most that you can get out of that particular team. And this may be some trial and error of switching some people in and out. Again, I would recommend at least having 1 tag at a minimum within there for some bonuses, but try to, mix and match and find out how you want to do it, but really focus on what characters you want to be doing the most damage. Make sure those tags really do affect that particular character. All right, so the third and final point I'm going to be looking at is specifically around the characters. You need to know the character's kits, because there's a lot of bonuses, a lot of damage that rely on the character and who is around them. Now, I'm not going to necessarily go through every single character in this video, but I will say I'm going to have some future videos rolling out where I'm doing some deep dives on all these characters. So I'm going to do a video per character, give you a deep dive of their kit, how they work, other characters they're good with, how to build them in a team, all the good stuff. But I'm still getting all my information together to make sure I'm giving you the proper information as those roll out. But I will showcase a few in here just because I don't think a lot of people read the full kits. And if you look at your characters, you can click on them and view their kits. But even if you don't have the characters, you can go to collection. And when you go to collection, you'll see your champions. And if you click them, you'll actually see their kits pretty much fully maxed out. So you can start to see what they're going to look like. And I'll take, for instance, Batman, right? So most people look at Batman, they think of the Bat family and how good he's going to be in there. But if you look at his skills, right? His skill right here with Batmobile, that's his main ultimate that he's doing. It says if there are 3 out of 5 Justice League allies present at the start of battle, his damage is increased by an additional blah percent, right? So if there's 3, he's going to have 290% more attack. If it's a full Justice League team, he's going to have 580% additional attack. So this is one of those things where, sure, you can throw him in a Bat Fam build, and of course, you're going to get the Batman tags or the Bat Family tags and things like that. But realistically, this character wants to be on a Justice League team because his skills are going to be this way. And I think that this is where a lot of people kind of miss with some of the characters. And I hate to say this because I'm very deathly scared of a good Deathstroke, but I think a lot of people are missing the fact that Deathstroke cares about who else is in your team. And right now, a lot of people are taking their Justice League teams or whatever they have built, and they're just sticking Deathstroke on there. But if you look at Deathstroke, right, he's got a couple really awesome skills in here, but he also has this piece in here that says at the start of battle, Deathstroke gains 30% attack up, for 20 seconds for each Legion of Doom ally that's present. So yes, Legion of Doom is probably one of the harder teams to build, but a lot of people have already invested in Scarecrow, and I know on our server, Scarecrow is about to go away, but if you invested in Scarecrow and you put Deathstroke with him, he automatically gets this 30% attack up at the beginning of the battle, just because Scarecrow is right there because he's Legion of Doom. So this is one of those things where, again, I see so many people that have a 2 purple star, a 3 purple star Deathstroke, but they're not getting this extra 30% attack that they could easily have just by having a Scarecrow as, their frontline tank or something like that. So again, these are just some of the things I would recommend. Definitely dig into the kits and all the skills and everything that are inside of your characters, because there may be some that you see and go, oh, I really need to put that person with this person, because there are those bonuses. I know we're about to have Zatanna and Constantine coming out, and both of those characters have that within their kits, right? So Constantine has the piece right here with the Black Magic Surge. At the start of battle, each Justice League Dark ally increases his attack by 25%. Now, we all know typically for Justice League Dark, you're doing the full team, but I've also seen some people in chat like asking that question of, oh, I'm just going to get Constantine and put him in my main thing. They're not investing in Dr. Fate. They're not investing in Raven and those characters. But here, if you have the full team, he's getting 100% bonus damage within here, as well as, Zatanna has some bonuses there. Dr. Fate has some bonuses with increased shield going out to all the Justice League Dark characters. So these are things you want to look at. It's not specifically the tag. Again, the tag's going to help, but there's a lot of things inside of the kit that will tell you what you need to have around them in order to make them better. So if you really want to make sure you're looking at your team building, those are the things you want to look at. So that kind of wraps it up with what I was thinking of for, team building 101. 3 big points that I think are very important. Again, placement of your characters, the character tags, and making sure that you have the proper team, but also the character skills. It's very important to know who is on your team and what that character wants on their team to give you the most damage. Now, this is just a brief dive into the actual building of a team. I'm going to have more videos coming out where we do deep dives on specific characters, talking about different teams that work well for them. I've got other videos that we're starting to put together about things like combat crisis and what you can do on teams there. Again, got some awesome people in the league that are coming up with teams, specifically Crispy Bacon, doing some awesome teams over there I'm going to be going through, especially for the free-to-play players and things like that. We're going to do other videos talking about the different modes and what, characters you need to be focusing on, bleed stuff. Man, I got so much written down that I want to go through. So I'm looking to do a couple videos a week, 1 or 2 or so like that. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Make sure, let me know down below. What would you like me to make videos on? What would be important to you, or questions you may have? Because I know there's a lot of people that still want specific stuff as far as information. So I want to make sure I'm building the videos and making the videos that you guys want to watch. So I appreciate what everybody's doing. And if you want to, you can click this video. And this is the video we put out Friday, if you didn't already see it, where we kind of, go through some of the stuff I wish I knew with the game. So check that out. Leave a comment over there as well. Maybe something that you learned playing the game. Until next time, y'all take it easy.